Hello everyone. So we are going to discuss a topic from Unit 4 of the course Practical Machine Learning with TensorFlow, GHRCEM Department of AI. So without any further ado, let's start. Hello everyone and welcome to the session on Practical Machine Learning with TensorFlow. In today's video, we will dive into the most important topics, that is the feature API and how to handle the categorical data or categorical features. When working with machine learning models, especially while using TensorFlow. So let's get started. In TensorFlow, we deal with large data sets, whether they are images, text, or numbers. We often need a structured way to describe these inputs. That's where the feature API comes in and helps us. This API plays a key role when working with TF record files by helping us convert the raw data into a format that TensorFlow can understand. The next question that arises is why is this featured API um, important to us, right? So there are three main reasons. The first one being standardization. It makes sure that all the input data is properly formatted. Second is efficiency. It allows the data to be saved and loaded efficiently using TF record format. And the third one is flexibility. It supports different data types like integers, floats, and string. What are the types of features in TensorFlow? So all of why we are using the feature API is on these types, right? So TensorFlow defines three main types of features. The first one is byte list, and all of this is certainly taken under tf.train.feature object. So hence they are categorized as tf.train.bytelist, tf.train.floatlist, and tf.train.integer64 list. 64 is just the bit number, so it can be int 32 according to the needs and necessity, but most probably it is integer 64 just because of 64 encapsulates 32 quite easily. So the three main types is byte list for strings or byte data, second is float list for floating point numbers, and the third is for integer value. And all of this is wrapped in tf.train.feature object. Let's look at a very simple example. Suppose we want to store a student's name, age, and say marks using TensorFlow. So in code, we define each of this using a write feature type, like byte list for name, integer 64 for age, and float list for marks. Just for a basic example to encapsulate all the feature types, this example has been taken. So when we start doing this, we actually create a Python dictionary named student features. As you can see it here, the student feature dictionary is getting created, right? Yeah. So each key corresponds to a feature name. That is, name is encoded into bytes using encode. Age is passed as an integer, marks as float value, and this dictionary becomes a part of TF record example object. Next is once we are defined with the example, we will serialize it using serialize to string function, or you may say API. So this is the serialize to string function, right? So this will help us serialize the data. Serializing we may often call as a binary representation that can be stored in TF record file. Now, how to read this back? Because we have encapsulated it and we have serialized it. So, how do we read it back? So, to get the data back, we deserialize it. We create an empty example object that can then be created, or we say we create an empty object and then we can use say parse from string function or API to decode the deserialized or serialized data. Then we extract the values using appropriate types like byte list, or you may say int64 list and float list. So we decode the name, we extract the age and marks. This is a clean and efficient way to store and retrieve structured data using TF record and feature API. Let's dive into categorical data. Now let's talk about another very common type of data that is called as the categorical features. These are features that represents categories or groups like gender, city, educational level, etc. Unlike numeric data, these don't have inherent mathematical meaning. For example, the gender, city, car brand, etc. Like gender is male, female, etc. So all these values are not mathematical. Educational level like bachelor's, then postgraduates, masters, PhDs. So that is how it is. So um, these values do not have any mathematical expression and they are completely textual in nature. So categorical data is something which is not a numerical data, right? But the machines do understand only numerical data. So there are ways in which we can convert this data into mathematical structure, which is understood by the machines. This slide shows you a data set. How a data set is created. The ID is given to all the values of a particular tuple. Tuple is each row. So this is a data set. Similarly, we can see another data set of city. That is a second example of categorical data. Now, categorical features can be divided into two main types. Nominal, that does not have a natural order. Ordinal, with meaningful order but not fixed, right? So nominal could be the colors like red, blue, green, or a collection of cars, Toyota, Suzuki, or anything. So these do not have any order, natural order. But yes, ordinal could be high, low, medium. This has a natural order like high, medium, and then low. And then, of course, if we go for the educational thing, it could be high school, bachelor's, and PhD. So this is the major difference between the two types of categorical features. So machine learning models only understand numbers. This is what I stated earlier. And yes, it is so. So before we feed the categorical features into models, we need to convert them into its numerical format. There are a few ways with which we can do so, and let's explore them. The first one is one hot encoding. Okay, so in one hot encoding, each category becomes a new column by itself. If a row has a specific category, that column gets a 1 and the rest of the columns gets a 0. So how it is, I just show. So if we consider a data set that we had taken initially as an example, the gender one. So it has IDs and it has genders. It has some values for the genders like male, female, and other. So these particular values will be the unique values, and all of these unique values like male, female, and other will become an individual column by itself, right? So steps that we follow is we'll first identify the unique categories. So we have identified it to be male, female, and other for the previous example. We'll create separate binary columns for each category and assign one wherever the category is present, otherwise it will be having a zero. So this is how the previous data set will be changing to if it is converted to one hot encoding data set. So the ID one was male, so male got one, right? And then female was zero, other was zero. Since it was male, so male will become one, and then the other two will become zero. Similarly, for ID two, you can see it was a female category, so female will get one, male and other will be zero. So this is how one hot encoding is. I hope this is clear to everybody. So key point here is each row will have only one and the rest are 0. Also, your original single column now becomes multiple columns. This can increase the data set size if there are too many categories, unique categories, I may say. Okay. Label encoding, the second way. Label encoding is simpler. Each category is assigned a unique number. Say, for example, if we take the previous example of gender, male will be 0, female will be 1, and other will be assigned as 2. But be careful. Some models may think 0 is less than 1 is less than 2, implying there is an order, which might be wrong. So we have to take into consideration while we do label encoding. All of this has to be taken into consideration. Here's how the previous example will look like for label encoding. So here the original data set is on the left hand side. So you can see IDs and their respective values, which were textual initially. These textual, like male got converted to 0, female got converted to 1, other got converted to 2, and this is how the label encoding table would look like. That is on the right hand side. So this is how all values will be replaced into the numeric code. This side will give a clear vision of how original data set would look like when it is encoded into its numerical format using one hot encoding or label encoding. This is just an summary of what we have learned up till now. The original data set, the categorical data set, getting converted into one hot encoding data set, and getting converted into label encoding data set. These are some examples that you can try. Like you can just have this data set, get it converted into one hot encoding and label encoding. This would be the solution. So when should be using each encoding? I would say one hot encoding for nominal data with no order is good, and use label encoding wherever you find a natural order. So it will also take care of the order if in case it takes one. So this is a piece of code, or I would say a code snippet, which is used to convert categorical data into one hot encoding. So we create a data set with educational level using pd.get. So obviously we are going to use pandas. So pd.get dummies to get into one hot encoded columns of for each particular level. And similarly, if we go for label encoding shall be using label encoder, which is from sklearn, to assign numbers to each educational level. It is very common and quick way to encode labels. Talking about the utility, that is TF Keras utils to categorical data. So this TensorFlow utility converts integer labels into its one hot encoded vectors. So other way probably for converting a categorical data into its numerical format would be Keras utils to categorical data utility. So this is the complete code which will be using the same utility that we just discussed. This is the next way, or the last way I would say, that is encoding categorical features using embedding. So now embedding and one hot encoding or label encoding has a very prominent difference. While we do one hot encoding or we do label encoding, we are not having a natural order saved. That is a difference between or a relation between the data, the categorical data with itself. So embedding tends to hold it, right? So this is an example. Embedding will convert the complete value into a vector, probably a three number or a uh, three integers in a vector list or something, and this number, like how many integers or how many values will be present in the vector, will be defined on the basis of optimization that the data can hold, like what amount of integer objects will be clearly able to classify in an optimized way. The complete data set will be generated by the research work that we do on the data set, and then we will do the embedding. So, one hot encoding is like assigning ID numbers, while as embedding is placing them on a map where similar animals are closer, right? Similar animals, like similar data is closer. So, this analogy is based on the example of animals. So, if we take cat in encoding, it shall be encoded as 001, or say dog will be encoded as 010, while embedding will kind of try to group it like the k-means does. So how do we get the embedding? So we'll have to get to the categories. The categories shall be assigned some vectors, and these vectors, these embedding values, are defined or created with the help of models. And there are n number of algorithms which will help us with this particular step. All of these numbers are adjusted using backpropagation so that all the similar categorical tuples or examples or values get closer in the form of the values in the vector. This is a code which will help us do the embedding. So embedding itself is a functionality which can be used to do so. So this is how we can convert a categorical data into its numerical format using feature API. Thank you.